So there's a lot of fear going on in society right now and for the last year. And I'm sure we all know that it's not even an elephant in the room anymore. It's right out there, pressing in on us from lots of different directions. And it can certainly trickle into our businesses. And even before all this, fear is a stopper. You know, fear can paralyze us. Fear can be limiting, and it comes from a number of different places. But it feels like right now, emotionally, energetically, there's this oppression of fear going on, and that's a really low vibration emotional state to be in. So what I want you to do for a little participation piece here, guys, is think about in the last week 2 business-oriented tasks that you were fearful to do. So it could be, well, I won't give you too many hints, but you talk about one of mine. I wanted to invite this particular person to the Begin program webinar. And I was like, all of a sudden, I think I was just not having a super on day. I was like, oh, what will they think? And then I got over myself. But tonight I want to help you guys, give you some tools to push you, draw you, pull you, help you expand into a more courageous state. Okay, so what do we have here in the chat? We've got Desiree used it too, yeah. Carrie called a friend that she hadn't talked to in over 25 years for sampling. That's amazing. Amazing, amazing. Okay, the rest of you, either you're not doing your business tasks, or you're sitting in your comfort zone too much. And comfort zone equals complacency. It's kind of the enemy of expansion, right? Creating your video, yes, Debbie, that's a big one. Going live, putting yourself out there, creating a reel, being a little bit fun and silly and showing that side of you. Or maybe you're like me and your hair, you just like, oh, I want to make this video, but my hair looks like shit. Oh, well, do it anyway. It's real life. So there's lots of different places where fear can show up. And the rest of you, I think you have some too. All right. And also going through our names list, those types of things. Let's see if we can get, there we go. Before actually we head on though, what does it feel like being fearful? Like, do you feel it in your body? Do you feel it in the pit of your stomach? Do your palms start to sweat? Do you distract yourself? Do you go and eat something that you maybe shouldn't when you're feeling fearful? And then what did you do about that feeling and that fear? When we're brushing up against fear or the edge of our comfort zones, we can back down, and sometimes we will do other things like distract ourselves with, I'm just going to scroll Instagram for a few minutes. And if you haven't set a timer, there goes 45 minutes of your productive workday, right? Or maybe you distract yourself so much that you ran out of time, and maybe you developed an actual physiological response to your fear. Maybe it's a headache. Every time you go to do your not your cold calling, but you're calling and you're reaching out on your names list, maybe you somehow get a headache. All these things can be presentations of fear. We were on the summit this past week, and Emily Wright brought this really strong message forward of fear. And do we want to sit in our fear and feed it by continuing to look for things that are going wrong, could go wrong, might go wrong in the future? Or do we want to be paralyzed by that? Or do we want to choose to be courageous and mobilize in what we're doing, and in love and in energy and in expansion? Because doTERRA is a company that developed through adversity, through 2008, when there was a horrible economic situation. Not only did they grow and thrive, but they continued to do so. And her message was really reminding all of us as leaders that we've done this before. We've been here before as a company, and we can definitely expand on this and move through this adversity. Through adversity comes opportunity. Okay. One of the things in the definition of courage is that some would have us believe that courage is facing some type of challenge without fear, but really one cannot exist without the other. You can't be courageous if you're not scared to do it, right? Does that make sense? I can't jump off a cliff into the water and feel courageous if that's what I do every day. I'm a diver. That's just, part of me. So courage can't exist without fear. You're going to experience some fear. And then what do we do about it? Fear can come from our limiting beliefs, so our mother, father, teacher, preacher beliefs that have been embedded in us and instilled at an early age and throughout life. Fear can be from past events and past experiences and our perception of those events and how they turned out. Oftentimes, I'm sure you guys realize that fear is worse. The ideas we bring up in our head are worse than what actually happens. So you call someone and they're like, oh, that'd be really cool. Or no, thank you, not right now. They don't like curse you out or anything like that when you say, would you like to come to an essential oils class? So imagining what's the worst case scenario and then realizing that, maybe this isn't going to happen is a good idea. Fear has a role in our life. It protects us from doing things that might hurt us, whether that's consciously or subconsciously or unconsciously. Our fear is there as a protective mechanism, and it's part of our deep, deep brain that acts when we don't even know that it's there. One of the really interesting presentations that I liked this past week was about levels of consciousness and where, I don't know if my picture is in front of your diagram, but it is mine, where we're progressing through low vibration things and emotions. You can see that on the left. You can see things like apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride. And those are areas where we get stuck. We are in a negative emotion in those situations. And I'll show you another example that more of you might be familiar with as well. But what's the tipping point here, guys? What's that emotion or situation where we go from stuck to more happy and productive and towards peak performance and less stress? It's courage. It takes courage to move from this negative, dense, shitty energy into a more positive state. Another way you might look at it is with the rainbow that many of you have done work with Jessie and Laura. And as you go from low vibe up to higher vibe, courage, again, is the tipping point to move through consciousness and to live a more happy life, basically. Okay, so I want to take you guys through a process now to work through two things, courage and confidence, because we might have the courage to do something, but we might lack confidence. So I'm going to take you through two practices that you can then implement in your business when you're working with people, customers, and even team members. So the first thing is, these are a whole bunch of oils for courage. Took them all from the emotions book. You can read up on them individually, and I have the extensive list because I know some of you are new, so you might not have birch. Many of you might not have birch. You might not have, I don't know, blue tansy or helichrysum. So all of these are oils for courage. And what I recommend you do is snap a picture if you don't have the emotions textbook. The next thing we want to do when we're thinking about courage and stepping into it and stepping through fear is dig a little deeper. So this would be a written exercise that we won't have time to do right now. This would be a while, but I want you to think of some things, snap a screenshot of this if you want, or pick one of these three questions to help you dig a little bit deeper to, help you find a path to more courage. So what would it take me to act on my own thoughts and impressions? That one didn't really resonate with me, so I'm kind of strong-headed, but who or what life experiences have taught me that I must wait for someone else to lead or to lead out? What taught you that you needed to sit back and wait for someone else? Well, who taught you that you couldn't lead the way, lead the path, and make your own way? And then, do I give myself room to make mistakes and learn? And so you would sit down with a journal, maybe a cup of tea, your oils diffusing, some that were in the previous slide, and just work through some of this if you've got some deep challenges with fear and courage. Then you might want to look up an affirmation. Here's one that you could practice writing out every single day in your journal. There are tons and tons for becoming more courageous. I'm now ready to act on what I know is right. You know it's right to serve people with essential oils. You know you can change their lives with those little brown bottles. And then let's move through the fear and act with courage, because we know it is the right thing to do. It's not sleazy or salesy. It is the right thing to do. That's why you're called to do it. And then the third piece of this would be to visualize. So visualize, imagine an energizing sensation or color flow up through your body, invigorating, empowering, and leading you into action. Obviously, you want to couple them with some of the oils that I mentioned, but picture yourself, walk yourself through that rainbow that you saw and go from the red, the orange, the dark, over and up to the light, the purple, and so on. So that's a little visualization that you can do. Choice turns fear into courage. We always have a choice. We can choose to sit and stagnate and be paralyzed by fear, or we can choose to take an active step. An active step is applying your oils. An active step is, doing some movement in your body so that you are in a forward momentum. That way you can do that next task on your list or reach out to that next person. Your consistent choice to turn fear into courage, it makes you stronger. And then you catalog evidence of that as you go. And it's like momentum, it builds, right? How was my first class that I ever taught? Like vomit worthy. Like it was like, I hate it, that it was so scary. Thank God Andrea was there, but I think she was nervous too. But each time you do it, it gets easier and you take that step and you keep going. So what can you do? What choice can you make in the moment when you're feeling fear to move forward? Choose courage over fear, because at the end of the day, there's very little we have control over in this life. We can't control the weather. I don't even know why people talk about it, actually. We can't control other people and their choices, and we can't even control like the economy or anything else like that right now. Can we take action and advocate? Can we speak? Can we get together and create more of a movement? Absolutely. Those are the choices that we get to make. So when you can, control your own actions and choose to be courageous and take action. Another one of my favorite quotes from this past week was, confidence equals repetition and positive self-talk. And I'll go, and there's a TED talk on this as well, but I'll go back to the class example. Like, even if I haven't taught for a while, like in the summer, let's say, taught a bunch at the beginning and then it kind of slowed down and I took family time. But when I went to go teach again, I felt rusty. I felt nervous again. I felt a little bit fearful. And this past week, Kim and I were talking, we coach on Monday mornings, and she was like so excited about her class that she taught last week or the week before? She's like, I rocked that class. And I know it's because she does a class every Tuesday night online, whether someone is there or not. And you could see the courage and the confidence when she was presenting. So repetition is important. It's why we do the same things over and over again. Do you tweak it and add your own flair? Of course. But to create confidence, you want to practice things in a repetitive fashion. It's like if you're an athlete, of course you're going to do the same move over and over and over again. So of course you're going to use the same script with your oils over and over and over again. And then the other piece of that is positive self-talk. What are you saying to yourself? Can you catch that negative thought, whether it's about your body, whether it's about, I can't do this, whether it's life is so hard, everybody else has it easier, whatever that negative self-talk is, can you catch it, snap and switch to something? Maybe you move your body. Maybe you get your oils out. Maybe you call a friend and talk about something positive. So confidence equals repetition plus positive self-talk. So we'll switch now to oils for confidence. These are many suggestions for oils to help you become more confident, whether it's confident speech, body confidence, just confidence in what you're doing overall. These are some oils that you can create your own concoctions, potions with. I love potions. A question, if you're feeling like you're lacking confidence on how to dig deeper, is why am I concerned with the opinions of others? I think we've seen a lot of leaders rise up this year and say, I don't care what people think anymore. I'm going to do it this way, or I'm going to do it my way, or who cares what the majority thinks? Because a lot of what the majority thinks right now is very oppressive and limiting and attack-based, fear-based emotion. So why am I concerned about the opinions of others? One of the practices that Colleen taught me to do is when I'm creating, let's say, a video, or I'm going live, or I'm doing something like that, I really put the intention in, whoever needs to see this will see this. Those people who might, you know, take a stab or do something, this is not even going to cross their feed. So create some intention behind it too. But why am I concerned about the opinions of others? Do they make a difference in your life? Do they pay you? Do they care about you? Do they even do your grocery shopping? Like, just do your thing. Know that you are on a mission with doTERRA to help other people. An affirmation you might use: I now believe in my ability to move forward. I am filled with endless possibilities. I have permission to step into my power. And again, you want to journal these types of things. Maybe you want to put a sticky note on your mirror. Maybe you want to write it on your mirror, maybe not with a Sharpie, but write it there. Change it up each week. Practice it. Breathe it. You know, envision it as well. And here's a visualization for you. See yourself wrapped in a blanket of comfort. Imagine confidence absorbing into your body through the bottoms of your feet, and feel your feet intuitively move forward. Move forward in confidence. Okay. Some other ideas for you. Actually, let me tell you what that just was there, so that you can use it, especially if you're newer to the emotion side of oils. Not all of it, but all of the steps, the oils, the affirmations, and the dig deeper questions, they came from this Essential Emotions book. There's an entire section back there that asks you that you pick an emotion. So let's say you want to feel abundant. It gives you the oils of abundance. You guys probably can't see, but then it asks you to look deeper. So it asks you a question that you would reflect on. It tells you how to declare or what an affirmation might be to address this area. And it gives you visualization. So if you're working with yourself or someone on your team, or even a customer that's struggling with something, you're going to find an emotion in that book and some recommendations. And then as you go, you know, you tweak it a little bit maybe, or you trust your intuition. And that's just such a simple thing that we can do to support people in this crazy, emotional, stressful time that most people are in. Have you guys ever done that before? Have you worked through the emotions book? Anyone done those exercises? They're pretty darn cool. There's also a place where you can figure out where the physical pain is coming from. So if you're someone who's getting, I don't know, shoulder pain, you can look it up in there and it's going to bring up what's going on. All right. Some other ideas for you. We went through some of this last week too, but reconnect with your why. And a lot of these ideas here are pulling on what Megan has taught on, what Patricia has taught on, even what Andrea, what Mandy. These are all ideas, and they keep coming up because they're effective and they work. And I mean, I doubt you did every single one of the activities and pieces of homework that everyone has recommended. I know I haven't had time to do them all, and that's why we repeat. So connect in with your why. What is your why? Not just the surface level why, I want to make $500 extra a month. What is that going to do for you, your family, your business? What is that going to do for your life? And then where do you want to take your life? What do you want your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plan to be, 10-year plan? doTERRA is a 10-year plan, a lifetime plan. If every year you leveled up, I don't know if you've heard this before, went up 1 rank every year, in 10 years, you'd be a presidential diamond. And I think that is a pretty valuable place to be. Update or create your vision board if you haven't done that yet. And you can be on your computer using Canva, or you can really get hands-on and do some cutting and pasting and craft store stuff. However you want to do it, keep your vision board visual. Keep it in your site. Maybe that's where you're putting your affirmations. Daily journaling and gratitudes. There's so much power, as the ladies have talked about before, in your gratitudes. That way you notice, when did I take a leap? When did I embody courage in the last day or week? And how did that make me feel? You get to celebrate your wins more and reflect back on your wins more when you're doing some journaling. This is a practice I didn't start till my late 30s. So I'm really enjoying that practice. Meditation. I really love the work of Joe Dispenza. He talks about how what you think and what you feel creates your emotion, and your emotion creates your reality. So if you are perseverating and only talking to people who are like weighing you down, and you're just only thinking the negative, I don't know, you're going to attract those things to your life. What do you want to attract? Meditate on that. He's got lots of meditations on YouTube and through Spotify. So there's plenty that you can find on there. And some of them are really easy and some of them seem way out there until you know his work. Start obviously with the light stuff or whatever resonates with you. Oil up, of course. Look in the book, check out the recommendations we made tonight. Stick to your plan. You know, sometimes we have to adjust what we're doing. We have to adjust our sales, our path, but stick to the destination, even if you have to reroute a little bit, even if your journey takes longer. Don't change your destination, just change the route or the timeline. Okay, sometimes things come up, like 2020. If it changed your timeline, this is still worthwhile to be in this. And then start with the easy, an easy win, not as a distraction, but the easy win. Start with the easy person to call, not the one who you're going to just call and talk for half an hour about not oils or anything like that. We'll start with something easy and build on that. Start with a short video on social media. Start with a fun reel, you know, take an idea from someone else and act on it too. And then maybe tag them, but because you're inspired, but start with the easy steps so that you can build on your confidence. It's like we teach our customers to, I keep wanting to call them patients. We teach them like little baby steps in their oils so that they get comfortable, they experience success. And then they're like, what else? What's next? How can I change this? How can I change that? And then celebrate your wins. Always, always celebrating your wins, even if it feels bold, even if it feels like bragging, it doesn't even matter. Just celebrate your wins so that your body knows like, oh, wow, that was really good. I did that. I'm wrapping up here, but each time we face our fear, we gain strength, courage, and confidence in the doing. If it scares you, do it. Do it scared, do it anyway. And then we've all heard acronyms of fear. It's usually like false expectation appearing real or false emotion appearing real. What if fear, because our body doesn't really understand the difference between excitement and fear, like the hormones are the same, the endorphins are the same. So what if we could flip fear into face everything and rise instead of fear that's stopping us and blocking us? Does anyone have any questions on that or any oils that they love using when they feel fearful? Something that pushes them into action to get them over that hump or that slump?
I just had a question, like, obviously you guys all started somewhere, like that are in the higher ranks and have been in it for longer. So when you first started, what were the biggest challenges for you and how did you overcome those?
I think my biggest fear was how my colleagues at the hospital would judge me, because lotions and potions versus, you know, medical information. So my fear was that they would judge me. My fear was that they would think I was hokey. And what I came to realize is they didn't even care about the science. I know we talk about best practice this, best practice that. They didn't really care. They're like, I have a headache. What do you have? You know, how am I going to keep my child's nose from running? I can't sleep, you know, that. So dialing it back from what we think something's going to be and just taking evidence of the real situation. Nobody questioned me on sesquiterpenes. Nobody, you know, some people wanted journal articles. I spent a lot of time in the beginning, like searching those out so that I would have the evidence, but hardly anyone asked me for it. Anyone else have any?
I would say I was the same. It was judgment from other chiropractors, and I just learned to get over that eventually. But yeah, that was big.
Mm-hmm. Getting through fear in any sense of the word is so valuable. You come out on the other side to be stronger, right? More resilient. This year we're building up a lot of resiliency. So imagine what it's going to be like in another year or 2 years when you're like, I did that already. I've done that. So I know doTERRA feels so good in where they are right now. 18% growth last year. They hired people. They didn't fire people. They've expanded their warehouses. They've got that all. They're ready for more expansion, and the demand is there worldwide. So Keeping the end
Wendy,
in mind.
I was just going to say that because you were saying oils, that I tend to go to my florals I find I don't necessarily address the fear, but I try to connect more with my heart and and the emotions, and that I find just moves me through quicker.
Yeah, I love that. We know, right, ladies? We know. If you tap into your knowing, that's a great reminder. You know, put your hand over your heart, take a deep breath when you're feeling fear. Get your oils on. Or if you've ever done the sway test. I love the sway test. It makes most of my decisions in life, actually. Should I buy this farm? Oh, I'm buying farm. I'm not even kidding you guys. But anyway, that's how much we trust when we clear out all the other crap, when we clear out the chemicals, when we touch in with our inner knowing and we tap into our oils and our energy. So, that's it for me.